I'm guessing you've come across this video because you're either struggling to work out your crypto taxes or you're interested in the product Crypto Tax Calculator. Well, today I provide a review of it and give you a list of the features, the pros, the cons, and my overall thoughts on the product. Anyway, let's get into the video. Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Rishock, and as I just said, I'm going to be reviewing Crypto Tax Calculator today. So Crypto Tax Calculator is an Australian-based crypto tax software. Now, if you don't know what crypto tax software is and why it's important, I did do an earlier video on my channel talking about crypto tax software in general and how to track your crypto taxes. So I will link that one up above. But in that one, I talked about Coinly and coin tracking. And since then, I've discovered Crypto Tax Calculator, and I want to do an in-depth review on it. Now, I do plan on doing reviews of Coinly and coin tracking as well, so keep an eye out for them in the future. And if you've got any other crypto tax software that you do want me to review, leave a comment below and I'll jump in, I'll give it a try, and then give you my thoughts on it. Anyway, let's get into the video. So pretty much what I'll run through with Crypto Tax Calculator, I'll go through some of the features of it, then I'll jump into the pros of it and what works really well, especially when compared to other softwares. I'll then look at some of the cons. So I'll tell you what doesn't quite work as well as some of the other softwares. Then I'll give you my overall thoughts on where it ranks at the moment compared to some of them. Now, if you are interested in joining Crypto Tax Calculator, I do have a link in my description. It is an affiliate link. It does help me support the channel, but you will get 20% off if you use that link and use the code BFF2020. So just something to keep in mind. There's definitely no pressure on anyone to join. This is going to be an honest opinion on Crypto Tax Calculator. But obviously, if you do want to join up, make sure you use that link to help support the channel. So one of the really exciting features with Crypto Tax Calculator is that it is Australian based. So that's something that has an advantage against a lot of the other softwares out there, is it's based in Australia. So what I find with that is, one, they're developing it to make sure that it is perfect for the Australian tax law, which is really important. But they also got better support because it's local support rather than some of the international companies that maybe don't care about their Australian audience as much. So one of the really cool parts about it being Australian based is they have direct relationships with a lot of the Australian exchanges. So things like Digital Surge and CoinSpot, you can have faith that you know that the API import's going to work well. And you also know that if something changes, they're going to be on top of that. They're going to deal directly with those exchanges and make sure that the imports all work correctly. And they do have heaps of other exchange imports from international exchanges or DeFi or DEX stuff. I think there's over 400 different integrations, which is really good. And that does beat out some of the other softwares, because I think it's really important to have a crypto tax software that has a direct setup for different exchanges. And I'll get into some of the pros, but I think Crypto Tax Calculator handles this really well. And then feature-wise, it obviously has a lot of the other functionality you'd expect of a crypto tax software. So it's got all your tax reports, all the different types. You can change your settings, last in, first out, etc. It supports a lot of different countries. You've got all those different normal features that you'd expect out of a crypto tax software. So I won't run through all of those. I just wanted to touch on those few really unique things, which is mainly it being Australian-based and some of its import functionality. So I'll jump right into the pros. As I've already talked about, the Australian-based thing is really important. I think is a really advantage to Crypto Tax Calculator. And one thing that has really impressed me is the CEO himself is really accessible and has really been willing to listen to my opinions on what makes a good crypto tax software, and gave me good reassurance of what's coming next. And also I've seen some of these fixes happen. So I've been able to talk directly to him and say, look, this is what the other softwares lack, or this is what your own software lacks. This is what I want to see out of it. And what's been really impressive is some of those changes have happened really quickly. So for instance, the manual imports were really poor when I first started using the product, and that has been completely improved, and now it works exactly how you'd expect. So that's really impressed me that in a short time frame, they've been able to bring in a feature that really struggled and now make it really top of the line. The support overall is really good, and that's something that I think some of the other softwares do lack. So when you do put a support request in, you seem to get a response pretty quickly, and they seem to be pretty willing to help. They seem to be willing to help clients actually work it out and get it right, rather than just going to their account and going, it's a mess and I can't get any support from the software. So something that's really impressed me, that a lot of my clients that have used Crypto Tax Calculator, their reports have been pretty accurate, or they've been able to go back to the support and the engineers and actually get it right, which the other softwares just don't seem to happen. The import functionality is really good in Crypto Tax Calculator. What's good is they actually give you the direct instructions there on how to get CSV files out of the exchanges, which that's something that's really important, because if you don't get the right file, because some of these exchanges have multiple reports, and you import that, it can really stuff things up. And then the other thing is the API import's pretty good, But the CSV import instructions are one of the really good pros that I think Crypto Tax Calculator has. And the whole pricing structure is also really impressive. So what happens with Crypto Tax Calculator is you pay for a year's worth of access, and you can access as many years as you need. So it's been really handy for clients that have got to backdate and do multiple years, is that they only have to pay once versus having to pay for each year's reports. So I think that's a really cool, unique feature there. And of course, they've got the basic things of 30-day money back guarantee if you don't like the product. And you can also use the product as much as you want, but you just can't generate the reports until you pay for it. So I think this is really important for people to put their data in, see if they can actually get it accurate before they go and pay for that report. Now, like any software, it definitely has some cons, and I don't think there is the perfect crypto tax software out there yet. I'm hoping Crypto Tax Calculator will become that, but right now there are a few areas that I think it does struggle with. And one of those main areas is displaying balances. So they'll display balances, but it doesn't necessarily show you really clearly what the difference is between what Crypto Tax Calculator is calculated and what your exchange is showing. It does struggle a bit with showing you what's actually in the exchange versus what's in the software, where your errors could be, then also giving you total displays of what your assets are made up of, which exchanges they sit in. Now, I have talked to the CEO about this, and he said that is a fix that they're looking at in the next couple months. So I'm really excited to see how that progresses, because it would definitely be the biggest weakness of the software at the moment. But I have a lot of confidence that that will be fixed, and hopefully by the time you're watching this video, that functionality has improved, because if that gets fixed, this software becomes a very, very solid software. The other functionality that me as an accountant struggles with at the moment, they don't have an invite your accountant feature, but I've been told that is coming soon as well. So again, keep your eye out for that, because being able to jump into clients' files is really important for me. So I can then help them and identify more than what I can from just a report. So I'll be really excited when that functionality comes along. And a bit of a weird con is that if you've jumped from other software into Crypto Tax Calculator, they do use a little bit different terminology and the way they display their errors, or they call them warnings. So I think that can get a little bit too used to, and it's not necessarily a con for Crypto Tax Calculator, but if you have moved from another software, you might get a little bit confused by some of the wordings as far as what they refer to as buyers, exchanges, trades, all of that kind of stuff. The way that works may be different to something like Coinly or coin tracking. So it is something to keep in mind. If you have changed softwares, you're going to need to understand their new terminology and what matches up with your previous software, especially if you're trying to get an import across from one to the other and make sure things match up. And the same kind of goes for the warnings errors section. So it is at the top of the screen normally, but sometimes I find it's just displayed slightly different to how some of the other software. So it can just get a little bit to get your head around, okay, how does that work? And what do those errors and warnings actually mean, and how do I fix them? And I think that's the same across any software, is you need to have an understanding of, okay, if it does flag me with an error or a warning, what does that actually mean? And having an understanding of what it means is really important before you actually try and fix the error. Now, before I go into my final summary of it, make sure that if you do need a crypto tax accountant, you get in touch with me. We do a lot of crypto tax returns through my business, Rushok Accounting. So I'd love to have a chat to you on a one-on-one basis about how we could possibly help. So overall, what's my final opinion on where does it rank versus the other softwares? Well, I think Crypto Tax Calculator is a very, very good software. I'm very impressed with it. I think it ranks very highly. I'd probably put it on par with Coinly at the moment. So I think there's definitely some functionality in Crypto Tax Calculator that's better than Coinly, but I think the same goes the other way right now. What excites me though is I think in 6 months' time, at this stage, Crypto Tax Calculator will probably be all I'm advising my clients to use, purely because I can see that roadmap and I can see the improvements. And if it fixes up a few of those key things, I definitely think it will be the best crypto tax software there in the market. And I think that's especially true for Australian-based clients, because being Australian-based, their support's been really impressive. You know that it's going to be correct from an ATO point of view, and you know that they're listening to Australian accountants and therefore putting functionality in that suits them, suits their clients. I think that's a really impressive thing about the software. As I mentioned at the start of the video, if you do want to join Crypto Tax Calculator, there is a link in the description. You can get 20% off if you use the code that's in there. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you let me know which software you want me to cover next, and I'll talk to you again on the next video.